construction yard is flooded to sea level, the surrounding dike can be breached. The lifting vessel can now move in for the first time and go into action. One by one, the piers are picked up to set course to one of the 3 tidal channels in the eastern Scheldt. The U-shaped craft moves into position to lift a pier. Blocks in both gantries take hold of the pier and lift it 4 meters off the bottom so that it can be transported, suspended in the lifting vessel. As the eastern Scheldt is fairly shallow in most places, the lifting vessel has to be navigated through the deeper channels. The very latest equipment on the bridge of the vessel determines the correct position. On arrival at its destination, the lifting vessel is attached to the mooring pontoon, which has been anchored in its exact position beforehand. The lifting vessel is now located with centimeter precision over the place where a pier is to be lowered. It's low tide we're waiting for, because by then current velocities will be low. The pier can then be lowered. The bed at the bottom of the eastern Scheldt is all made up. This way, a total of 65 piers will be positioned in the 3 tidal channels, placed so accurately that they are no more than a few centimeters out of place. The superstructure of the storm surge barrier includes a rope for which concrete bridge box girders will have to be placed on the piers. The box girders are delivered ready to be placed on the piers. They have been prefabricated on land, 68 in all. The world's strongest self-propelled floating crane, also designed specially for this project, will be used to install the concrete road girders. In the fast-flowing water of the eastern Scheldt, the crane uses its anchor cables to move into position, inch by inch. When the bridge girder is suspended over the piers, the crane lowers it to the correct position. The bridge girders will be widened later to accommodate a motorway and a lane for slow traffic. The stone needed for the sills between the piers comes from quarries in Germany, Sweden and Finland. In the flat and low-lying Netherlands, there are no such quarries. The stone is taken to the eastern Scheldt by ship. Dumping large blocks of stone around the piers has to be done carefully. The layers have to be of uniform thickness throughout, and the piers must not be damaged. The stone is placed exactly in position in small quantities with the aid of electronic location finding equipment. The pier barrier construction has progressed so far that a start can be made with the installation of the movable gates. Each gate by itself is a gigantic steel structure designed to withstand very heavy storms and the loads caused by waves. The gates are taken from the construction site to a pontoon, which delivers them to a floating crane in the eastern Scheldt. The crane lifts the gate high above the road girder until it's over the top of the pier. On the piers, slides have been installed so that the gate can easily be lowered to its position above the waterline. Here, the hydraulic cylinders for moving the gates are already mounted. Slowly but surely, the storm surge barrier takes shape. But between the piers, so-called sill beams have to be installed. They will reduce the size of the flow openings. The heavy concrete beams are built in a construction dock on the construction island. The dock has meanwhile been flooded to allow the crane to enter and pick up the beams. The job of positioning the beams is for the most part an underwater affair. It is one of the most difficult stages in constructing the storm surge barrier. The beams have to be lowered exactly in the grooves of the piers to rest on the stone sill. The roadway across the pier dam has yet to be completed, but the storm surge barrier is ready. The moment has come for the barrier to be officially commissioned by Her Majesty Queen Beatrix, a ceremony that outstrips the importance it has for the Netherlands. That's why the gathering attending the momentous event includes important guests from many European countries. Standing on one of the piers, Queen Beatrix symbolically sets the last gate in motion.
Met het neerlaten van deze laatste.
By lowering the last gate, I officially commission the storm surge barrier in the Eastern Scheldt.
In gebruik.
On a glorious day like this, Prince Bernhard and the other official guests don't mind waiting about 40 minutes for this last gate to be lowered to the sill. After all, it marks the end of a 30-year battle against the sea. The storm surge barrier in the Eastern Scheldt has been closed. The Delta project has been completed. As the VIPs propose a toast to the success of the project, the gates are raised again. The tides must be allowed to run freely so as to prevent any damage to the natural environment behind the barrier. What remains to be done is the job of widening the road across the storm surge barrier. Concrete elements, lifted in place by a mobile crane, are fitted to the sides of the road girders. They are anchored to the existing structure by stressing cables. Construction of the storm surge barrier is finished now. All that remains is for the asphalt road surface to be laid. The 3-kilometer road on top of the storm surge barrier is a major link in the road system of this watery southwestern part of the Netherlands. 3 pier dams with a total of 63 steel sliding gates in the deep channels should protect the Eastern Scheldt from extreme weather conditions. A lock built in the barrier allows shipping to pass through. The lock is used, among others, by ships from the old fishing villages to sail to and from the North Sea. Twice a day, the North Sea water rushes through the barrier into the Eastern Scheldt. Environment has been achieved in the area. An environment that offers the best chances for life to flourish in the Eastern Scheldt and security for people living around the Eastern Scheldt. Whenever high water levels coincide with severe storms, the barrier is closed, a situation which, fortunately, occurs only once in a few years. In the control building close to the barrier, all relevant information is received by the central operating room. Weather forecasts, the rise in water level to be expected, and so on. When all forecasts happen to be unfavorable at the same time, the gates are lowered. Within the hour, the storm surge barrier has changed from an open pier dam into a closed, solid, and safe barrier. the Delta project completed, the inhabitants of the low-lying villages behind the dikes that collapsed back in 1953 know that a similar disaster could never happen again. The water in this Delta area that has given and has taken away has been tamed. The completion of the storm surge barrier in the widest and most unpredictable sea arm, the Eastern Scheldt, is the crowning achievement to the Delta project. Cooperation between government, contractors and scientists has resulted in a hydraulic engineering project unique in the world.